Hello everyone. Today we'll be presenting our VCW project. We use the VCW framework to help our organization, HopeZonesFoundation. So let's go. This is our amazing team: me, Laura, Antonia, Milena, Paulina, and Philip. For our agenda, we'll go through each phase. We'll begin with the elevator pitch, then we'll go to phase one, discover value, then phase two, create value, phase three, validate value, phase four, capture value, and finally, phase five, consolidate value. Let's begin. Do you know that by the year of 2100, over 50% of the marine species could be on brink of extinction? Our oceans are facing severe problems, but our organization, Open Foundation, is here to create a solution. That's why we came up with our challenge of creating services for our members. The Open X Club is a club experience that offers a range of unique services designed to inspire and empower our members to make a real impact in the world of ocean conservation. For this, we want to create three main services. There are conservation themed events, Nazare experience trips, and also educational surf retreats. In this way, members have special opportunity to learn and explore, while also contributing for a better future for our oceans. What we need for this, we need the engagement of our two founders. We need the administration with employees. We need event managers, and we also need two instructors. The project is supposed to last 4 years with a final milestone of 250,000 euros, with a total investment of 886,000 euros that will be necessary for our funding. By applying the value creation wheel, we came up with our poster that we already presented in class. Basically, here we went through each phase to achieve in the end our main goals that we established in the beginning, and we'll talk about them later. Beginning with our value creation wheel, firstly we'll go through the phase one, define. We'll see the phase 1A diagnostic, phase 1B challenge, and finally phase 1C, the expected KPIs. Inside the phase 1A diagnostic, we'll go through the company and context, the competitor analysis, PESTEL, Porter 5 forces, SWOT, and also the performance analysis. To give you some context, and as I said before, by the year of 2100, more than half of the marine species that are in the world today could be extinct or in the verge of extinction. And this declining of the marine biodiversity is mainly because of pollution, all the plastic that is thrown at the seas every year, the overfishing, but also the ecosystem degradation because of the CO2 emission. This is a huge problem for humankind and for all the planet, because we actually need to protect biodiversity and ocean and land, because we humans benefit from it. Like the well-being of all of us, and animals and plants and the planet itself depends on that, on good environment and good health of seas, land, plants, everything. There are also benefits from contributing legally to protect ocean and lands. These ones are the safeguards, resources like clean water, healthy soils, and others, by meeting international obligations and commitments. Also, by new economic opportunities and innovation and technological development. Because this problem exists, our organization, Options Foundation, is an association that has as its main goal to create a sustainable future and to change the consciousness in the local maritime areas. Options Foundation is focused on preserving ocean areas as well as the called maritime protected areas. Um, the organization also wants to change the overall consciousness um, by transforming the local business community um, and to promote sustainable growth of the economic model. For that, the organization has community events such as beach cleanups, surf classes, and other educational stuff for ocean literacy. Here in this box, we have the main goals of HopeZones Foundation: maritime protected seas, sustainable fishing, architectural standards, certification, and dissemination. As of today, HopeZones Foundation is composed by 14 members that all of them have in common that they are really passionate about the ocean and, of course, ocean preservation and contribution to the environment. Um, so we can say that all of them have the same purpose of saving the oceans. Uh, all of them have different backgrounds, different motivations, initiatives, interests, and needs, but all of them work together for this main cause of the ocean preservation. This main cause, this main purpose of ocean preservation brought us for the appearance of HopeZones Foundation that has a vision and wants to generate funding to legally protect 30% of the oceans and land by the year of 2030. This vision also comes along with a mission to fund and support ocean and land environment protection through local businesses, and but also creative communication and educational events for the whole community. That brings us to the main values of our foundation that are the sustainable growth, the knowledge, the creative communication, and the educational aspect. Continuing with the competitor analysis, for our organization, we don't really have like similar competitors, but we have also other NGOs that do similar things. We have the Oceano Azul Foundation and Oceana de Lisboa that work together in order to promote actions like the education and literacy of the oceans and the conservation of the oceans. uh, these NGOs also want to protect, value, and promote uh, everything related to the seas and the shore. And they also want to empower public policies, regulations, and legislation to better defend and we can say guard the seas. In the right, in this table, we have other other NGOs and what do they have today in order to capture members. So we can see here that any of these organizations has everything. Uh, that's why HopeZones Foundation is here to basically cover every of this stuff: website, membership, social media, focus on oceans, and activities to engage with members to better achieve the funding that is needed to do this ocean preservation. To analyze the external environment, we conducted a PESEL analysis. Um, so to understand are the factors that influence NGOs in Portugal, like HopeZones Foundation, we have a political factors that are the legislations that already exist in the United Nations, but also the government funding of NGOs, the economical ones that at the moment we have the economic recession and which may give NGOs less funding. We have the social ones that is the increasing awareness and importance of sustainability and climate change, and also the raising awareness in maritime stuff. There is the technological side. Nowadays, NGOs are utilizing more and more technology to promote themselves, like social media. There's also the environmental ones, uh, which now we are facing some problems, like the rise of sea level, increased storm activity, temperature changes. And finally, we have the legal ones, that are the different frameworks between associations and foundations. As I said before, we also conducted the Portal 5 forces, but as I said, they are not really competitors in this type of NGO. There are ones that do the same but offer different things. So basically, we came with a competitive value of moderate, as funding sources and resources are limited to the NGOs, and that's why we put here moderate. After the Porter 5 forces, we conducted the SWOT analysis, where we analyzed the strengths, the weaknesses of HopeZonesFoundation, but also the opportunities and threats of the environment itself. For HopeZonesFoundations, the main strength is its strong mission and values, which is reinforced through the proposed driven founders, which enables to build a strong community, as the foundation has a really strong branding. For weaknesses, we have a high dependency on funding, and the foundation is still small, so the resources are limited. For the opportunities, that there is an increasing awareness and support for social impact causes, and also a raising awareness for marine funding, and a growing interest on the impact investing. But there are also threats. That there is an overall recession, and economy downturn related to the war, and also other negative economic features that are a threat for the organization's funding. At this point, Hope Zone Foundation, we already, as you can see here in the left side, we already possess a strong branding for assets, but we should improve more on fundraising capacity and also brand awareness. These four first topics, the overall organization, fundraising capacity, branding assets, and brand awareness, uh, are, are our main focus and the ones that bring and that have an higher importance for us. Going back again for our SWOT analysis, here we have the TAUs. So we want to leverage our strong branding potential to attract and retain the donors, diversity of funding, and improving the financial sustainability of the company. We have the strengths with the opportunities, as I said, the strengths and threats. Basically, we have to use the strong vision to differentiate from competitors, and use the branding to do the same. For weaknesses and opportunities, we have to take advantage of raising awareness and support social impact, leverage policies and regulations at this full potential, among others. And for weaknesses and threats, uh, we have to improve that, as I said before, the financial sustainability and retaining our members, diversify our funding, and of course improve our competitiveness through other NGOs. So to end up with phase 1A, we have the stakeholder analysis. The engagement of stakeholders is really important to efficiently implement the mission, the vision, and the key goals of our association. So we came up with different stakeholders. We have here the members that will come up in the phase 5 to provide the resources and funding. We have the KDM, João, that came with us since the beginning to give us key information about us, the foundation, the experts that gave us insights and guidance in our project, and also the coastal communities that will be directly impacted by the organization activity. We also have two potential stakeholders that will enter after this project. They are the environmental NGOs because they are likely to have the same goals, and also the governmental agencies. Now we'll go to phase 1B where we establish the challenge, and I'll let the word with Antonia.
Now in phase 1B, we are going to talk about our challenge, the 5 whys, the legal framework, and the statement of objectives. As we have seen in our previous analysis, internal and external analysis, the HopeZonesFoundation should leverage its strong branding potential in order to engage stakeholders to efficiently implement its vision, mission, and key goals. How to do that? For that, HopeZonesFoundation needs to attract new members, retain donors, diversify funding resources, improve financial sustainability and competitiveness. But how to do that? Again, now this drives us to our challenge. The main challenge for HopeZonesFoundation is then which exclusive services should HopeZonesFoundation offer to the members of its HopeZones X Club to create a unique club experience. So, which services they should establish to offer to their members of the club. So the idea is to launch a Hope Zones X Club and create a community of supporters and people that want to be involved, have a positive impact in the space of ocean conservation, and use the Hope Zones platform to reach those goals. So Hope Zones X Club will be composed by members and donors that will be engaged to actively be a part of the club and to be inspired to participate in ocean conservation. Members will pay an annual fee to be part of the club, and the membership is supposed to be extremely attractive, exclusive, and should offer unique and special services. The club will be exclusive for a certain circle. Now, in order to understand our challenge, let's answer to the 5 whys. The first question is, why does HopeZonesFoundation need services for the HopeZones X Club? So they need that to retain existing members and create a unique concept differentiating themselves from other foundations. But why do they need to differentiate themselves? To pursue donors or potential donors to invest in their purpose, not in others. But why do they need to pursue donors? As there are many foundations existing, it is important to retain interested donors and attract new donors to secure funding and release projects. Why do they need to interest new donors? To increase its funding and financial resources so they can fulfill their mission and reach the pretended objectives. And finally, why do they need to increase its funding or financial resources? To reach the ultimate purpose of reaching 250,000 to become a foundation. As we have said before, HopeZonesFoundation wants to become a foundation in the next years. Nowadays they are association, and there's some differences between the two legal structures. Associations are membership organizations, while foundations are non-membership organizations. Associations are often formed to advance the interest of a specific group, while foundations are usually formed to address a specific societal need. Associations generate revenues from membership dues and sponsorships, while foundations rely on donations from individuals and organizations. And finally, associations are governed by a board of directors elected by the members, while foundations are governed by a board of directors appointed by the founders or other members. In order to solve our challenge, we established some objectives to the next 4 years. For this year, the short-term objective is retain and motivate members of the Hope Zones X Club through exclusive services to have a positive impact in the space of ocean conservation and to collect between 5 and 7K of fees per member. The medium-term objective, which means the next year, is to attract new members and reach a maximum of 50 people to be part of the Hope Zones X Club. Finally, the long-term objective for the next 4 years is to collect 250,000 euros through the Hope Zones X Club within 2025 in order to become an official foundation. By becoming an official foundation, Hope Zones Foundation aims to improve its financial position and to increase its impact. In order to ensure an efficient and consistent utilization of the project, we use some KPIs through all the phases of the project. There are KPIs that are team related and other ones that are project related. In team related strategic area, we have some such as correct application of the VCW meta framework and reaching satisfactory final solutions. There are more important ones. In project related, we divided in short term, medium term, and long term. And we have, for example, a consistency of activities with values of HopeZones Foundations and implement membership systems in short term. Achieve high process quality measured through surveys and reviews, and introduce additional benefits in medium term. And finally, collect enough funding to become a foundation in the long term. Now, up to phase 2, it is called increase, where we will generate ideas, criteria, and finally purification of concepts. In phase 2A, we will present you the methodology, the secondary and primary research, and the idea development. Our methodology were based in the deductive research approach, where we use primary and secondary research. We looked for information and gathered ideas, created a benchmark, and asked experts and created hypotheses. We use primary and secondary research in brainwriting and 635 method, desk research, and interview with KDMs. On the other hand, we conducted interviews to validate ideas and improve the concept. We did 3 qualitative interviews. The benchmarking approach, we identify best practice examples for a membership system through a comparative analysis of different membership services offered by competitors such as Sustainable Ocean Alliance, Green Business Network, the Nature Conservancy, Climate Works Foundation, Rainforest Trust, and Harvard alumni in each associations. In primary research, we used brainstorming in our group, and we were able to find out 3 categories of activities that we could use: founders trips, workshops, educational programs and events, and network events. And we gathered some ideas such as educational surf retreats, exclusive coastal ecosystem tours, master classes for members to learn about ocean preservations, or special events and gatherings. On the other hand, in primary research, we use qualitative interviews too, where we conducted 3 interviews with different stakeholders and experts to understand their perspectives and gather additional ideas. We talked with Anthony Day, that is an advisor of HopeZones Foundations, Moritz Seidel, that is a co-founder and early-stage investor of HopeZones Foundations, and Diogo Pizarro, that is a surfer and environmentalist, and all of them help us in our challenge. For the idea development phase, we used the 3 methods: brainstorming, benchmarking, and interviews, and we were able to come up with 3 categories of unique services: national trips, workshops, educational programs, and events and networking. In national trips, we have events like surf road trips, scuba diving, founders trips, exclusive coastal tours. In workshops, we have coastal conservation workshops, invitations to special events, reports on progress, and finally in networking, we have events like voting right in organizations, opportunities to collaborate, youth club, membership cards, and other events.
As a next step, we define criteria in phase 2B in order to narrow down our services. In total, we generated 51 filters by brainstorming, but we also involved our KDM and an external stakeholder to gain additional insights. And we tried to come up with as diverse filters as possible and categorized them in the following buckets: alignment with mission, feasibility, differentiation, impact, member value, scalability, and financials. In phase 2C, we then purified our concepts, meaning the ideas and the filters we generated, and for both we used the poker method. In the first round, we purified our ideas. Here we also worked closely with our key decision maker, Joao, and classified our ideas. In the end, we retained 38 ideas out of initially 67, and we killed 4 of them, reviewed 25, multiplied 0, and kept 38 ideas in total. The second round of the poker method was then applied to our filters. We discussed the feasibility of each of them with our key decision maker, an external stakeholder, business partners, as well as members of HopeZonesFoundation. And in the end, we retained 35 of the 51 filters, whereas 1 was killed, 15 were reviewed, 0 were multiplied, and 35 were kept. Coming to the next phase, phase 3, where the main goal was to assess the filters and ideas we had generated in the phases before. First of all, we have the selection of the ideas. To avoid biased or intuitive decision making, we decided to keep all of our to-keep ideas we purified in phase 2C. So all of the ideas you see here will go through the value funnel process in phase 5. And the overview you can see here is split in 3 categories. We have the national trips, which could be coastal tours or surf retreats. We have workshops, educational programs and events, which could be coastal conservation workshops. And lastly, we have networking and additional benefits, which could be conferences or opportunities to collaborate. Lastly, in phase 3B, we then selected our criteria. So first of all, we started by developing an ENSOF matrix that helped us to analyze the best strategy and to keep it in perspective when choosing our final solution. It also helped us to evaluate which strategy is best suited for growth objectives. So what we did is we considered the risks and rewards of each of the strategies the ENSOF matrix suggests and selected the product development strategy, as it is the one that best aligns with the goals of this project and it aims to provide new products in existing markets. Additionally, potential filters were further discussed with Anthony Day, which is an external advisor of HopeZones, and in cooperation with him, we developed another matrix that would help categorize filters by the attractiveness and the ability of HopeZone to exercise them. And the idea of this framework is that it shows the best ideas, meaning that the higher the curve is, the better the idea is. Then, after applying the poker method in more discussion rounds, we selected crucial criteria by categorizing them into keep, kill, and review. Here you can see an overview, and at the top you can see our categories that we have developed before. As a last step of phase 3, we collaborated again with our key decision maker in order to incorporate the most important filters into a ranking system. After this exchange, we came to 8 filters in total. Within group discussions, these filters were then ranked based on their relevance, scope, and impact. And most of these filters are regarding the quality of our services, such as personal learning opportunities, uniqueness in the market, or exclusivity. But we also made sure to include filters that make sure our services will be feasible for HopeZonesFoundations. For instance, the filter in line with budget. To further narrow down the information we gathered in the last phases, within the 4th phase, we aim to incorporate the STP process in order to gain a better understanding of our target segments, and we derived the solution concept for HopeZonesFoundation and also developed prototypes. The focus of phase 4A is to, on the one hand, leverage the STP process, and on the other hand, narrowing down our services with the help of the value-creating funnel. So with the main goal of capturing a competitive advantage for HopeZones in mind, we first of all wanted to get a clear idea of the target segments, and therefore we identified crucial criteria to segment the market and based on this develop the targeting strategy. So first of all, the key segmentation criteria we identified for member personas are separated in geographic, demographic, and psychographic criteria. We really tried to understand here what different member personas could look like, what their motivations for joining would be, what their interests are, and we also used discussions with the external advisor of Hope Zones to gather stakeholder input. And out of this conversation, we understood that the main geographical targets would be on the one hand Portugal and on the other hand Europe. And with the idea to create a club that aims to generate stable cash flows, we also derived that members should have a middle to high income in order to be able to pay the membership fees. And age-wise, the target could be anywhere between young adults or like older professionals. And we also wanted to get a step further in understanding the motivations of potential members and set up the 4 criteria within the psychographic data, which would be interest in surfing, wanting to have a positive impact, interest in networking, and also seeking learning opportunities. Having in mind that each motivation can have different levels of importance, or not every psychographic criteria fits to every person, we developed 4 different personas, which we can see in the graph. For instance, we have personas that have a high interest in surfing, but we also have personas that don't have a high interest in surfing, but therefore a much higher motivation for having a positive impact. And for the services HopeZonesFoundation aims to provide, it would then be crucial to have a diverse set of services to be able to target really all of the 4 different personas here. As we saw on the slide before, we have some key psychographic characteristics that fit the member personas, and we wanted to get a quantifiable idea of our target group and therefore looked a bit more detailed at our key characteristics. And therefore we focused on the people with an interest in surfing and tried to estimate the number of people that would fit into the characteristics. We did this by conducting market research and gathering market data, and then we narrowed this down to people who are surfing in both Europe and Portugal, which would be for Europe 4.5 million people and 200,000 surfers in Portugal. So, of course, not all of these people who are surfing would automatically fit into the member personas. Therefore, these numbers would be need to further narrow down by applying the other segmentation criteria, such as the demographics or the other psychographic criteria. So now, as we gained a better understanding of our target group, we established a targeting strategy, which is divided in 2 phases. First of all, after an exchange with our key decision maker, we identified that besides the member personas, another valuable target or member target base would be the network of Joao, as he already has a huge network of people who are interested in surfing, for instance. And we listed it as a separate target group to really emphasize this, and they also have to be targeted differently than the target personas because they already have a personal relation to Joao. So we then divided the targeting strategy into 2 phases, whereas the first phase would focus on target personas within Portugal, which would allow Help Zones to first gather data or experience and targeting and segmentation. And then in the second phase, we would target people outside of Portugal, meaning Europe, to diversify the targeting segments of Hope Zones.
So, coming to the first use of the value creation funnel, we used 38 services we identified and explained in the previous steps with our 8 filters that were also previously explained in detail. What we can see here is that we only used filters that were marked as strictly needed by our KDM, and that the first filter of personal growth and the learning aspect, which was of huge importance for our KDM, was the most effective one and narrowed down our total ideas from 38 to 29 services in the first step. Arriving at the 5th filter, the budget, no service was excluded. Still, this filter was very important for us and the KDM because it was the only quantitative one and checked if the remaining 14 filters at this stage were aligned with our maximum budget of 30K for the remaining ideas. In the end, we arrived at a total of 11 services for our membership system. In our effort to identify the most promising services as possible benefits in our value creation funnel, we utilized multi-criteria decision analysis with a set of 8 filters that our KDM marked as needed in our first VCF. These 8 filters were carefully selected and ranked according to their scope and impact. The MCDA has helped us to substantiate our value creation funnel solution by identifying a total of 11 prospective services that have met our selection criteria. A further refinement of our solution allowed us to better tailor our value creation funnel to meet the needs of our target audience. In our second use of the VCF, we added 7 supplementary filters that were previously categorized as only nice to have by our KDM. These supplementary filters included engagement, impact, focus on the environment, related to the ocean, experiential, marketing potential, and digitalization potential. By applying these filters, we were able to enhance the precision of the 11 previously identified services that we had selected using the needed filters. The outcome of our refinement process was that the 11 ideas from the previous use were further narrowed down, resulting in only 7 ideas being considered for subsequent phases. This process of refining our idea selection using the VCF and the MCDA has been critical in ensuring that we are focusing on the most promising and impactful ideas of our project. After conducting a thorough ranking of all suitable services with our KDM, we narrowed down our options to 3 main services. As the initial set of 7 services was too extensive for implementation in the first launch, we had to discuss and rank the final services with our KDM once again. Through a collaborative effort, we were able to decide on the top 3 prioritized services for the launch of the Hope Zones X Club project. These 3 services are conservation-themed events, trips to Nazaré, and educational surf retreats. We believe that these services align best with our project goals and have the highest potential for success. Coming now to the phase 4B of the value creation wheel, we will talk about concept and value proposition. In detail, we will talk about value innovation, conceptualization, positioning, and our marketing mix. Our aim was now to create a new value curve that would form the fundamental basis of the positioning strategy. To achieve this, we utilized the Blue Ocean framework to analyze the current market boundaries. This helped us to identify untapped opportunities and potential areas of growth for HopeZonesFoundation. By conducting this analysis, we were able to develop a new value curve that is unique and innovative. This new value curve will form the basis for HopeZonesFoundation's positioning strategy and enable them to differentiate themselves from their competitors. By focusing on value innovation, HopeZonesFoundation can create a new market space that will enable them to thrive in the long term. To create a new market space, Hope Zones will focus on eliminating the main factor that the industry has traditionally competed on, the volatility of funding and cash flows. This will help to create a more stable and sustainable environment for the Hope Zones Foundation and its members. In addition, Hope Zones plans to raise the exclusivity of its memberships and the focus on strong community building well above industry standards. This will help to create a sense of belonging and exclusivity for its members. To create unique and exclusive experiences for its members, Hope Zones should plan to involve the latest technology such as Bitcoin, as well as offer specialized learning and exclusive networking opportunities. Finally, Hope Zones aims to reduce the lack of personalized attention for its members below industry standards, as well as reduce the costs of consistently attracting new funding sources and funders. Based on the new value curve, we built the concept for Hope Zones Foundation's member club, which is the Hope Zones X Club, a community of ocean conservation supporters offering exclusive benefits to a selected group of individuals. The varying membership fees of the silver, gold, and platinum systems are aligned with Hope Zone's goal of reaching €250,000 to become a foundation. The club provides an opportunity for individuals to get involved and have a positive impact on ocean conservation. We incorporated our previously defined services into the membership systems to offer exclusive and unique benefits to our strong and supportive community. Deriving from the targeting strategy in our strategic triangle of the STP process and the market boundaries analysis, as a next step, we developed the positioning strategy for the Hope Zones X Club. Based on Hope Zones X Club's unique positioning strategy, the foundation can gain competitive advantage in the form of differentiation, member loyalty, and brand recognition. The unique value proposition of Hope Zones X Club is that it provides unparalleled networking opportunities and unique services to its members, while also fostering a strong community of like-minded individuals passionate about the ocean. Members enjoy access to exclusive experiences and a personalized digital experience that enables them to connect and collaborate with a diverse network. The competitive advantage of this approach includes, first, differentiation through the provision of unique experiences for members, which can set the club apart from other organizations in the same space. Second, increased member loyalty, which can lead to stable revenues for the organization. And last but not least, brand recognition, which can increase awareness of the Hope Zones X Club and attract more members and donors to the organization. Hope Zones X Club's marketing strategy is built upon the 4 key elements of the marketing mix: product, price, place, and promotion. To create a unique club experience for supporters of Hope Zones, we offer 3 different membership options: Platinum, Silver, and Gold. Our services are exclusively offered to members and are aligned with the purpose and values of the foundation. The main services offered for the launch include conservation-themed events, trips to Nazaré, and educational surf retreats. Members contribute an amount between 2 to 10,000 euros, depending on their membership status, which determines their level of benefits. Additionally, each member pays a symbolic membership fee of 200 euros annually. To promote the club's activities, we will utilize the official Hope Zones Foundation and Joao Macedo Instagram pages, the Hope Zones Foundation's official podcast, word of mouth, and the official website. All activities will take place in Portugal to foster economic growth of local communities, which are connected to the essence of Hope Zones Foundations. Through this marketing mix, we aim to communicate Hope Zones' innovative approaches, unique events, and purposes behind the association to attract like-minded individuals to our community.
So moving on to phase 4C, we will have a look at 2 prototypes. First, the prototype website, and then the prototype events. Starting from the website prototype, there will be an integrated application on the Hope Zones official website designed to give members access to all the benefits of the club in one convenient location. As you can see in the picture, the idea is to add the access to this exclusive section right next to the donate button so that it is easy to find as soon as members enter the website. And the hub will include announcements about all upcoming events and the membership guide with all the information of the club. Then it will be displayed an overview of the planned events and the opportunity to register, followed by the network section, which will give access to all members of the club with contact details and short descriptions of their backgrounds. And finally, the last 2 sections will include your donations, which is an overview of the donations made within the year by the member and possibility to make further donations, plus the document section, which gives access to all the available documents such as membership certificates or certificates from attended workshops or donation receipts. Now we will have a look at prototype events, starting from conservation-themed events exclusive to the Platinum members only. We have developed 3 events, each contributing to a specific Hope Zones Foundation value, and the first one is the Patagonia event, which is a small market where Patagonia seasonal clothing will be for sale, and a part of the earnings will go to the foundation. It will also offer free food and drinks for the guests and different educational workshops. The estimated capacity will be between 100 and 120, and the event will be hosted every time a new collection is released. The cost will be around 3,000 euros. Next, we will have the Save the Waves Film and Surf Festival, where the club will have a dedicated stand exclusive to the members, and here they will be able to join workshops and consume food and drinks offered always by the club. This festival is located in the Azores, and the estimated capacity will be between 60 and 80 people. The festival happens once a year, and the cost will be around 10,000 euros. Finally, we have created a prototype also for dinners, and these dinners will have special guests. They will be galas, so of a more elegant kind of a dinner, and it will include full course dinners followed by a talking show with guests related to the land and ocean conservation world, and a prize award ceremony for the most impactful members of the year. The selected location will be in Sintra, and the estimated capacity will stand between 120 and 140 guests. The event will be happening once a year, and the cost will be around 1,500 euros. We also developed a prototype for Nazare trips available to the Gold and Platinum members. So, first of all, Nazare is a very famous location situated in the Portuguese coast, and it is known for having the highest waves in the world. Indeed, it is very popular among surfers and one of the main geographical locations covered by HopeZonesFoundation. The activities of the trip will include 3 different possibilities. The first one is a relaxed style vacation oriented towards beach and town visits. The second one is a cultural focused tour dedicated to the history of the town and the Portuguese culture. And the third option proposes a more adventurous approach, including organized hikes around the most beautiful and popular landscapes and explore the nearby villages and towns known for their own unique history. The capacity will vary from 10 to 50 people, and the frequency will be several times during the year according to the members' availability, and the cost can vary from 15 to 30K. The last prototype we have developed are the educational surf retreats, which are exclusive to Platinum members, and the retreats will take place in all 4 Hope Zones Foundation area, and the trip will consist of surfing activities and educational sessions, all related to the ocean conservation world. Educational surf retreats provide a holistic experience. They engage both the mind and the body and allow participants to develop new skills and deepen their knowledge while also enjoying physical benefits of surfing. Plus, there will be special guests invited to participate to such retreats, and they will offer to participants the chance to learn from experts in the field and gain unique insights into the subject matter. It will happen 8 times a year, so twice in each location during, of course, summer season, and the estimated cost will stand around 16K. This type of travel not only benefits the individual members of the association, but provide also new skills and knowledge by aiming at having impact by raising awareness about the importance of preserving coastal environments. Finally, here we have a breakdown of the cost of each Hope Zones club service. And by looking at the Patagonia events, we can see that the total amount of 3,000 euros is due to the rentals and the setup of the space, plus the cost of the food catering. Then by looking at the stand at the Save the Waves Film Festival, we can see that the costs are split into catering with 3,000 euros, stand cost of 5,000, and staff hiring costs of 2,000 euros. Then we have the gala breakdown cost that sums its expenses up to 15K. This is because of 2 main components. The first one is the rental of the location and its setup that go around 2,000 euros, plus the catering staff costs, which will stand around 13K. Finally, we have the Nazare trips costs that will include apartment rentals, which are going to be around 14,000 euros, guided tours and transportations that will sum up to 7,000, plus other activities that will cost roughly around 9,000 euros. The last one is educational surf retreats, and this one we have apartment rentals cost that will go to 12K, transportations around 1,000, and activities and materials related to surf casting around 3,000.
Moving on to the final phase 5, where the final solutions were prepared to be operationalized by our KDM and stakeholders. For that, we conducted the analysis of the 3 M's, which is manpower, minute, and money, and we finally put our outcome in a business model canvas. Starting with the 3M analysis, we try to summarize the allocated resources in all of the 3 main services on the level of manpower, minute, and money. And this is just an overview, and on the next slide we will go into more detail on each aspect, but you can see that each service varies in its resource intensity, and that while manpower is quite low for all services, their required budget can be quite high depending on how to execute the services. And as none of these aspects exceed the last circle of our diagram on the left, you can clearly see that feasibility was an important aspect for us when deciding on the services. So let's start to look at manpower in more detail. First of all, the founders are obviously needed to set the overall direction of the association and represent it in public. And they need to work closely together and provide guidance for the employees. The task-relevant maturity is high here, as they know the association very well and they have leadership experience and knowledge about the industry. In addition, someone managing the day-to-day operations, such as the financial management, the HR, the back office, is needed. And this person will start with a medium TRM, but will evolve to a high TRM to provide the needed administrative support. And finally, to realize these new events we want to implement, 1.5 FTE of event managers will be necessary to plan and execute the events. And additionally, instructors for the activities in the scope of these events are needed, especially for the surf retreats. And we estimated to need around 1 to 3 people that could be freelancers. Therefore, their TRM is quite low. To secure the successful implementation, we also developed a timetable for the time until reaching the final project goal of reaching 250,000 euros in 2027. And within this time frame, 4 milestones were determined. So first, the launch of the online hub and the increase of the number of members to 20. Then do a soft launch by mid or end 2023, and then officially launch the club in 2024, where also the 4 years officially start. And finally, we defined a final milestone for the beginning of 2025 to reach the maximum of 50 members. And we also listed the main to-dos you can see on the left, which include the getting started phase, the soft launch, and also the preparation of the official launch. And after that, the challenge will be to operate the club, and later on from 2025 to scale the club, meaning to increase popularity and create more benefits. Since the execution of the project will require investments for HopeZonesFoundations, we also did a cash flow analysis for the 4 years of the projects and also for the first 6 months for the soft launch. And for that, we looked at the value we could gain from the members, namely the donations, but also the annual fee we get. And then on the other side, we looked at all potential costs based on the prototypes. And again, the goal was to reach 250,000 euros in free cash to use it for the legal creation of an official foundation after 4 years. And just a short notice, these calculations are based on the incremental effects when launching the Hope Zones X Club, but they do not consider additional effects and costs. And of course, we also had to do some assumptions to get an estimate about the budget needed, and you find that on the top right. And looking at the analysis that was based on our assumptions, HopeZonesFoundations would be able to gain excess cash from 2025 on and will be able to collect its required amount of 250,000 in 2027 to become the foundation. And total cost will be 886,000 over the 4.5 years. And we see that 75% would be personal costs. So to consider a reduction in these costs, it would also be possible to change to freelancers to reduce costs and also get additional public funding to increase the members' benefits. To summarize our solution, we used the business model Canvas, which is a strategic tool that helped us to describe, design, and evaluate our business model. And the Canvas is a visual framework that consists of 9 building blocks and that represent the key components of a business. And I will just quickly go through them because they just represent what you saw in the last slides. So basically talking about our key partners, it's obviously our members, but it's also JAO as a person and our business partners, hotels, but also municipalities. The cost structure we touched upon in the money section. It's basically the biggest part is our personal cost, but also obviously for the events and marketing administration costs. Then we have the key activities, which is creating the Hope Zones, but also creating the members club. Resources are especially the strong brand of Hope Zones, but also the ability to share knowledge and the network. For the value proposition, we really want to put in focus the sustainability and environmental aspect, but also to foster personal growth and fulfillment and the sense of a strong, exclusive community. And this also is reflected in the relationship part, where very close relationships and a strong community will be built. Looking at channels, we have the digital channels, but also, of course, our offline events. And customer segments are the members of Hope Zones, of course, but also potential donors and supporters, as well as the government. And last but not least, we have the revenue streams, which is, of course, mostly our donations, but also official sponsors of Hope Zones. Continuing with phase 5B, we looked at our KPIs, which we determined in the beginning to evaluate if we achieved everything what we've planned for. Starting with our team-related KPIs, we can see that we actually achieved all of them, which is really great because we marked them as with a high importance in the beginning, because they were not only important for the overall project success, but also for our learning opportunity within the team. And looking at the project-related ones, we were able to start and also finish some. For example, we wanted to involve 5 stakeholders, which we actually were able to do. So we talked to our KDM, we talked to business partners, namely Patagonia. We talked to members of the club, an external expert, and also the professor. And we were also able to identify the 3 benefits for the members, so provide the overall solutions. But the implementation was prepared, but obviously not really implemented yet. And also all the long-term and medium-term KPIs are still in status not started, as they will be relevant in 1 year and later on. Now we come to the last part of our presentation, which is phase 5C, where we actually want to look in the future and see what is the next challenge, but also look at the project overall. So what is our output? What kind of managerial implications we have? Then we want to see what stakeholders thought about the project, but also what are theoretical implications and what lessons have we actually learned. So looking forward at the next steps, HopeZoneFoundation should evaluate the current and past services and their success by conducting surveys among members. And they should also evaluate the member satisfaction and gather data from feedback forms or unofficial feedback conversations to improve the concept. And following on that, this feedback should then be implemented. So for that, HopeZoneFoundation should use the VCW again to find potential new services that fit with the customer needs. and they should also evaluate whether to expand the target segment globally, because right now we're only talking about Portugal. And the challenge will then be to expand the Hope Zones X Club, which also includes implementing and establishing new services, again, using the VCW, and also take advantages of partnerships, for instance, with hotels or current partners of HopeZonesFoundation. Looking at our output, we are really proud that we have delivered all deliverables on time and have come up with 3 main services for HopeZonesFoundations that are feasible to implement and have real impact. So we have the conservation-themed events, trips to nursery, and educational surf retreats. And through the use of KPIs, the quality and level of success of the services will be measured in the future, as stated in the Outlook. And in addition, members' feedback, so reviews and ratings, were planned to be conducted in the future. And as our project involves the creation of tangible events for more than 20 or more people, event organizers will be necessary to support the entire project implementation. So we have some organizational change involved as well. So we need project manager, we need someone who's responsible for the administrative part, so marketing, but also logistics for coordinating all practical details. And last but not least, we also have managerial implications, as the management is responsible for supervising the outcomes and monitoring of the entire event and implementing modifications and enhancements. As a close collaboration with several stakeholders and the KDM is essential, we are happy that we received very good feedback for our work, which makes us really proud. And that's why we also wanted to include a short statement of our key decision maker, João Macedo, which I will now play for you.
Hi, my name is João Macedo. I'm one of the key decision makers for the HopeZonesFoundation project under the Value Creation Wheel methodology. And it's been really amazing working with the group that was assigned and that chose our challenge. And it was a tricky challenge in the sense that it was definitely a little bit unusual, and the group really took its time and found its momentum and rhythm, and the questions posed and the use of the Value Creation Wheel methodology has really positioned us for choosing some strategic services that we will be utilizing in our campaign this year. Thank you very much, Professor Luis Lages, and thank you very much to the group, and onwards and upwards, really looking exciting to implementing a lot of the ideas, and off we go. Thanks so much.
So now we also want to look at theoretical implications. So through working with the VCW, we also gained theoretical knowledge and considering the value creation wheel, but also beyond that, which we can use for our future academic career. And on the one hand, we learned about the practical applications of different strategic frameworks, such as the SWOT analysis, the Porter's 5 forces, or the 3M analysis. And we also used primary and secondary research methods to gather data, which was really insightful. And looking at the VCW, we were able to see how it integrates with all these other frameworks, and we understood how important the involvement of the key decision makers is, and we realized how interconnected each phase is. And regarding reading several articles about the VCW really helped us to understand its functionality and implementation. Last but not least, we summarize our learnings on 3 different levels: project-related, course-related, and team-related. So the VCW was, for us, a highly effective tool when exploring especially like the wide range of potential solutions in the beginning, and then identifying the most favorable ones. And also the communication with the KDMs was essential, and the VCW really helped us to structure that. Regarding the course, it was really interesting to learn about the new tool, and seeing it was a really dynamic tool that allowed us to work across phases and improve along the development of the project. And we are sure that we can use it in the future as well to work on problems in class and as well in businesses. And finally, regarding our team, we learned how important it is that everyone is equally involved and engaged to run a smooth coordination of tasks and work division, and that it really helps to regularly give feedback and also receive feedback to ensure efficient teamwork. To sum up, we are proud that our project is able to contribute to all 3 Ps, meaning it secures revenue streams, builds strong communities, and has a real impact on the environment and on our oceans.